empowers perhaps groups, empowers people who have very large platforms. I'm speaking about global platforms, empowers political leaders such as Vladimir Putin, who has recently done this a few weeks ago, empowers people who have a platform that is undeniable to start speaking this thing out. And then imagine on top of that, when the Lord begins to turn the hearts of people, for we know that the hearts of the king are in the hands of God. When the Lord begins to turn the hearts of the people around the world, as has already started happening, as people have been watching the abject cruelty of Israel, and their deeds are exposed. No longer are people holding back in condemning that deed, in condemning the things that they do. No longer is it hush hush and you can't speak and you can't say this. So yes, here in America we have a last ditch desperate effort by those who are in the House and those who are in the Senate to continue towing the party line, probably because those people are terrified of losing their seats if they say anything against Israel. That's your job. That's your lifetime tenure. That's all the money you have access to steal. So yes, they do have motivations to toe the line, but God is going outside of the normal parameters, and he will definitely kick up strong winds that are going to bring things exactly as you are hearing here. God says that the Jews have crimes, and those crimes are going to be uncovered. And if you remember, between January the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, I received several dreams from the Lord that I then published on January the 4th. And then a few days later, on January the 7th or 8th, there was a huge hubbub here where a Jewish synagogue, I think it's Chabad, was raided. And then all of a sudden, that's when we here in New York found out that they have little rat tunnels all over the city. And then we were treated to the sight of Jews running away from that police raid, running under the city, and then popping up all over the city through hidden tunnels that most people, the majority of people, did not know that they possessed. And due to the beauty of social media, sometimes people were able to capture those exits from underneath the city live, post them all over social media, and in true Western media form, this story was not covered as it should have been covered. If such a story broke in the United States, that Muslims had access to tunnels all through New York City, one of the busiest cities. It may not be the top political city, that's DC, but definitely if it was found out that so-called jihadists or ISIS or Muslims or any of the other groups that America has designated as the boogeyman had access to tunnels that radiate all under New York City, we would see it getting the same kind of coverage that 9/11 got. But there was barely a peep in the news. TikTok did a better job of covering that story than the mainstream media did. Shortly after that, rabbis began to talk, and one rabbi was caught and exposed for selling children's foreskins on, there's a website, Craigslist, and he was selling them as food items and people were buying them. He was exposed. Rabbis began to talk, they've been talking, they've been exposing the sexual molestation, they've been exposing the internalized trafficking of young children, marrying off of children who are way too young to be brides. This is not a child bride country. Everybody in America feels that the child bride nest is strictly the purview of the Muslims, and yet it's happening here in this community, but a blind eye is being turned to it. You might as well know that here in New York City, Jews have a separate police force. America was up in arms when we discovered that China has a separate police force here in New York City. China has a separate police force that operates outside of the NYPD. Separate cops, separate cop cars. But did you know that here in New York City, that Jews have Panda cars that are marked almost identically to the NYPD, and that they are allowed to operate with impunity as a separate police force to police their own community, to have almost identical powers to the cops? And it's very rare for the cops to venture into those communities.